And after introducing the reservoir, the hydraulic fracturing, now we start by discussing about basic geomechanics. All right, we start with fracture gradient because we say in the earlier that we perform hydraulic fracturing by injecting fluid above the fracture pressure. We can get the fracture pressure, for example, by plotting the trend like this one. You see the red line is lithostatic gradient, and the blue line is actually hydrostatic gradient, and the fracture gradient is this dashed line. All right, this dashed line. Okay, and then we just perform the injection, the hydraulic fracturing to exceed this fracture gradient. All right, that's the key point. All right,
Si gampang emosi.
all right, thank you. And then we need to introduce several basic definitions. First, the axial stress. Like this one, the stress is, of course, force divided by the area. And then strain in loaded direction, epsilon x, and strain in unloaded direction. We can calculate this one. And we can get a very important parameter, which is Poisson ratio. Poisson ratio, which is minus epsilon y divided by epsilon x. All right, epsilon y you can get from this one, and epsilon x you can get from this one. And we have the database, or we have several data for the Poisson ratio for sandstone, of sandstone gas, then sandstone liquid, limestone, and shale. All right, we need to remember this one, the Poisson ratio. And then the second parameter that is also very important is Young's modulus. Young's modulus, or we can also call it modulus of elasticity, is actually how much energy it takes to deform rock, right? Because we want to frac the reservoir, we want to fracture the rock, we will talk about deforming the rock. And the energy it takes to deform rock is called Young's modulus. It's actually this one, Young's modulus. E is this one, the stress divided by the strain. All right, you can learn about it from material mechanics. All right, so we can get the Young's modulus, which is stress divided by strain. All right, and all materials, including reservoir rock, has this curve, has this parameter, Young's modulus. All right, and based on their Young's modulus, we can have hard rock or soft rock. Hard rock, if we have the Young's modulus above 3 million psi, and soft rock if we have Young's modulus lower than 3 million psi. Okay, and we have the distinction between hard rock, soft rock. All right, because we can frac hard rock or we can also frac soft rock. In hard rock, the characteristics is like this. It tends to transmit the stress. So if you push, if you inject the rock, it will transmit the stress. Okay, and the challenge with dealing with the hard rock is we need high pump pressure to fracture the reservoir. And the fracture geometry, usually we will get long and narrow fracture. But for soft rock, it is quite, I can say it's a bit more challenging for soft rock. All right, it tends to deform rather than transmitting the stress. It tends to deform, so it will be more difficult to frac. Okay, and the challenge will be propan embedment. So after you frac the well or after you fracture the reservoir, you put some propans inside the fracture, but at the end of the day, the rock will like the propan will embed into the reservoir. All right, the reservoir, it's like the reservoir will swallow the propan. The reservoir even will swallow the fracture itself. Okay, so that will happen if you have soft rock. And the fracture geometry, usually we will have short reservoir but wide. Okay, so you can distinguish between hard rock and soft rock based on their Young's modulus. And also the shear modulus. Modulus, it's also very important in designing hydraulic fractures. We can calculate the shear modulus by this one, the Young's modulus, and divided by 2 multiplied by 1 plus Poisson ratio. Okay, let's keep it that way first. And now we start to talk about stress. All right. And let's say we have reservoir zone, and this is just a element of rock. This rock inside the reservoir, all right, in the earth will experience stresses coming from all directions. All right. We have stress 1, stress 3, stress 2, stress from all directions. All right. The rock, each element of the rock will experience stresses from all directions. And we can describe the stresses in tensor. All right. Maybe many of you are from chemical engineering. In chemical engineering, usually we have transport phenomena, right? In transport phenomena, we talk not only scalar value or vector value, but we also talk about tensor, okay? And tensor have 9 elements like this one, okay? Like this one. So yeah, this is the stress tensor experienced by the rock. Long story short, all right, to have the proper calculation for us, all right, we do some axial transformation, all right. We transform the direction, we transform the coordinate in such a way so that we have this, like this one, the orientation for which all shear tractions are 0, like this one. All right. Now everything in this tensor will be 0 except these 3 principal stresses. All right. Everything else will be 0. All right. So now we have, after transforming our coordinate, our direction, we have only 3 principal stresses. Okay. And that stresses, that the principal stresses is actually stress maximum, stress intermediate, and stress minimum. This is very, very important, all right? And that's the key. This is the key. Hydraulic fracture will initiate and propagate with the least energy, all right? This is natural law, natural law. Hydraulic fracturing or hydraulic fracture will only initiate and propagate with the least energy. And to have the least energy, it means that hydraulic fracture will propagate perpendicular to the direction of the minimum principal stress, perpendicular to the minimum principal stress. That's why we need to transform the coordinate so that we can get principal stress, and from which we can get the minimum principal stress. What's the significance? Let's describe the principal stresses like this one. So we have rock here. The first principal stress is actually in vertical direction. We call it overburden stress. The load, the weight above the rock will be the overburden stress. And this is the gradient. And the second principal stress is actually maximum horizontal stress. All right, coming from horizontal direction, but it is the bigger one. All right, this is the second principal stress, and this is the gradient in PSI per foot. But from horizontal direction, we also have another principal stress, but now is smaller, and we call it the minimum horizontal stress. Okay, minimum horizontal stress. So we have overburden stress in vertical direction, maximum horizontal stress in horizontal direction. In this case, from this one, all right, from the east to the west, we call it that way, and minimum horizontal stress in this picture from south to north. And you can see the picture of the fracture. And you can see this node, fracture opens up perpendicular to minimum stress. So if the direction of minimum stress is from south to north, then the opening, the propagation of the fracture will be east-west. Okay, because east-west is perpendicular to north-south. Okay, or we can also say fracture opens up in the direction of the maximum stress. So to make it easy, we can call it in the direction according to the direction of the maximum or perpendicular to the minimum. All right, so this is very important because it will govern the opening or the shape of your fractures. It can also be like this way. If you have overburden stress, which is quite small, and now in this case, this is the least principal stress, and you have two horizontal stresses, this one and this one, and the red direction is actually the maximum principal stress. Now, because the overburden stress is the least principal stress, the smaller principal stress, then the fracture will open like this one and propagate there from north-south direction. Okay, so again, fracture will propagate on the direction of the maximum principal stress and perpendicular to the direction of the minimum principal stress. All right, it is very, very important. Why? Because like this one, we can have several configurations, shape or direction of the hydraulic fractures. So you need to estimate the overburden stress. You need to know the direction of the maximum horizontal stress and also the magnitude, and also the direction of the minimum principal stress and also the magnitude. Okay, you can drill vertical well, you can drill horizontal well, and you can estimate how the fracture will be according to these three principal stresses. Okay, and of course, each configuration will have different productivity, different performance. Okay, so you need to be careful. Okay, of course, we have like this one, we have vertical wells, the same vertical well, but the fracture direction is different, like this one. This well, these three wells will perform differently because of this difference in hydraulic fractures. Okay, so yeah, you need to perform reservoir simulation, you need to perform hydraulic fracturing design, you need to perform geomechanical design, geomechanical study, so that you can set up or you can plan your fractures in a way that it will give you highest performance. Okay, and now after introducing the hydraulic fractures and also after discussing about geomechanics, we need to talk about the propan.